Sabina, chemistry.
Alexis.
Yeah. So, sorry, no better. I'll say everything. So, a few things I want to talk about is what went wrong with the PBL. Because that was our first time ever doing this, and we were really scared. We'll say it was more planning for anything than we've ever done. This is my 4th year, and we probably planned for a good 30 hours between most of the team, and it was really scary. And I'll be honest with you, our project initially lasted 3 weeks, and we realized after about 4 days that it was crap. It was. And so we, halfway through that first week, we decided, you know what, we had a big 12-page pack with all this stuff laid out, with all this scaffolding and all of that, but we decided, let's just tell the kids it's crap. And they were cool with it, and then we just fixed it day by day. So we have a really good PBL for next year, but just what I would recommend to all of you is going forward, if you haven't done it before, or if you're still new, don't be scared. If it's really bad, you're probably not going to learn it any less than they would have otherwise, right? And that's where we are, and that's the truth. They didn't learn it any worse. They'll be better next year.
For a lot of the high-level learners, I teach pre-AP, they kind of come in and they're so good when you teach a lesson because, you know, a lot of them are gifted and talented. So they come in and they'll pick up something very quickly. PBL was totally different, and I think my pre-AP kids struggled more with the PBL unit than my on-level kids did because they had to think so much more by themselves. They had to collaborate with their group members. A lot of times if I present a lesson, they'll pick it up pretty quickly and then be able to do the practice without any problems. Now they're totally like, they're drowning. They tell me, I'm drowning, I can't figure it out. And part of it was I want to be able to help them. But you got to find that balance of what you want to provide to them and what they need to be doing on their own. You know, Kathy saw a lot of that. She'd come in and ask them questions, then they start asking her questions. And she says, well, I don't have any answers. I think that's part of what your job is, to find the answers. Something we did specifically in ours was we assigned each student a job, so we treated them more like employees than we did as students. And they seemed to really be receptive to that, kind of like they were already in the job world. We had business meetings, we had staff meetings, we had memos, we had agendas. We took it day by day. If they weren't able to meet a deadline, we were able to extend it, like Casey said, and just tell them that it's not something that has to be done by 3:30 today. If you are able to show that efficiency or that learning, and it happens 48 hours afterwards, we're going to be really lenient about that timing as well.
In terms of classroom management, I know that's kind of the biggest issue with problem-based learning. What we learned is that smaller groups are better, so like 2 to 3 max, even if you have kids that are absent, because eventually they will either start showing up or you can put them in their own group, they can work on their own pace. But when you get 4 kids, there's always going to be somebody that's not doing something. So really smaller is better. If you can get the LGI or something, even if it's just your class in the LGI, but give them that space to spread out, because I know a lot of our classrooms get really cramped. They do better when they can spread out and work together. And it'll take about 4 days before they accept the fact that you are not going to give them the answer, and then they will stop asking, and they will start trying to figure it out on their own. But in terms of things that our kids learned, they got infinitely better at researching. Because the first day, the first week, they get all kinds of crap resources. They don't make sense, they don't understand it, and they just go with it. By about the second week, they realize to stop asking Google questions, and they start actually like using keywords and evaluating the sources and actually getting information and trying to understand it rather than just copy it down. But eventually, if we can get our video working, you'll get to see different snippets from all different classes, so it's not just chemistry. Upper level did it, physics did it, IPC. And you'll see some really cool examples of student work that would surprise you. Like we had on-level 10th graders writing 3 or 4 pages worth of a final paper by the end of it, which is pretty impressive. So.
One other thing, and it wasn't necessarily PBL related, we used it a lot for that, but I'm sure you've heard people talk about donors choose before, and this was the first year that I've actually done something for it, and I myself wrote a grant for 2 Chromebooks, as did almost every other science teacher, and this year we received a total of 24 or 26 Chromebooks, that we didn't have a year ago. And it's not like when you do a campus or district grant, we order it in October and it gets here in like July. We submitted the request and it took a little while, but once it was paid for, since it's all private donors, I literally accepted mine in December and received it in January. It was really fast. So I highly recommend Donors Choose for all of you. And now start a video.
Phases of mitosis.
Okay. Well, when you look through the phases of mitosis, you'll be looking at how many cells and their processes and how they're being worked in the process. And in this case, when you look for standard deviation, same area, you're looking for the maximum amount of error and the maximum and the minimum amount of error that you can create during the time of the cell processes, and how many can fail and how many cells are successful. And it's important to know because it lets us know how well the environment is. The better environment, the more successful the cells are. And vice versa. So that environment creates less cell production.
And what happens if that happens?
Less cell production, mutations occur, cancer, you know, there's the most common problem, a lot of Down syndrome. I mean, it's just a lot of terrible things in the world, and it's caused by cell manipulation and abnormalities.
Oh, it's colossal incorporates and we evolve into gas and stuff. And this is our CEO, and I am the secretary. Yes.
Shorter. Not shorter, but like it's faster. Even though it's like longer.
What tools are you using online to decide?
Google Maps. Who doesn't use Google Maps?
I don't know, maybe somebody still uses MapQuest.
What's that?
He's marketing Google. Google should give him a job.
So when I was saying we got on level 10th graders to write a lot, that this was all written by them. So just, we say our kids can't write, they write a sentence, but they can. You just have to give them a reason to. They created their own test questions, they solved them. They had to come up with a budget of like everything accounted for, and this is values that they're not used to seeing. And you can see this was just a revision log of all the kids working together. So you can really see that they were all actually working on it. It wasn't one kid doing all the work. And this was pretty normal for all the projects. You know, there's obviously a few exceptions, but for the most part, all the groups were working together.
We did have work for the students who wouldn't participate as part of the group. This is the last thing, and we're all good to go. We just tried to have a backup plan so we could engage every child in the classroom and make sure that we weren't setting kids up who weren't able to work with the groups for failure. We talked a lot about getting fired from a job and what were the repercussions. Some of them wanted to get fired to start with so they could go work in their own groups, and we said that's kind of not going to happen. A lot of us assign groups. This is how it works in the real world. You don't often get to pick and choose who you work with. It's just you go, you move forward, and you get stuff done, and that's what we're doing.
Is oftentimes aligned in what we're doing, and so we did the same in this case. So I'm not going to talk at you, I'll just let the project speak for themselves. Alright, hopefully I didn't just kill this thing. Don't do that, always eject properly.
What is this?
The cake.
This is not cake, this is dumpling. Okay.
Spicy. Well, I'm first. Hot spicy, corn, small fry, no. What is that? Tadina? También. También.
Usted necesita comida 3 veces al día. Sí, muy bien. Gracias, adiós. ¿Qué comen?
Yo como las hamburguesas, las papas fritas y Buenos días, Miss Turner.
Buenos días, Miss Patel.
¿Cómo estás?
Muy bien. ¿Y usted?
También.
Yo como
¿Qué comes?
yo como papas fritas y pescado frito.
Tú necesitas comer para mantener la salud.
¿Haces ejercicios? ¿Trabajas mucho? Tienes que hacer ejercicio y comer muy bien.
¿Qué pasa? ¿Cómo están? Bien.
Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes, doctor.
¿Cómo está?
Muy bien.
¿Cómo te sientes?
Bien, pero estoy ansiosa.
¿Qué comes?
¿Cómo mejora? ¿Qué haces para mantener la salud?
¡Fresas, mangos!
Tengo manzana y naranjas. Bebes el jugo de manzana. Bebes jugo de naranja. Y debes comer frutas.
Tengo bananas, pastos, mangos. Hola, hola, hola.
Gracias. Gracias por venir.
Bandidos a las canicas.
Tengo hambre.
Un refresco de coco. Yo también.
Vous déjeunez?
Quelle est la spécialité de la maison?
La spécialité de la maison est la soupe à l'oignon.
Merci. Donnez-moi une soupe à l'oignon alors.
Que voulez-vous comme poisson?
Je voudrais un citron pressé, s'il vous plaît.
D'accord, j'arrive tout de suite.
Merci, mademoiselle.
Samba sugar the calcium. He put the oven to 350 Fahrenheit because that's the temperature that is needed to bake this cake.
Yes, that is students cooking Chinese food at their houses for this project.
用药钱四十是否完成？若没有，再考15分钟。This looks really good. And that's the easy way that you make coconut rice, sticky rice cake. And this is the nian gao cake. Thanks.
一，银耳放进冷水泡1小时。二，清洗红枣和枸杞。五，红枣、枸杞和冰糖放进锅里，再煮半小时。完成。